This is an update on the development status of TetraCity. I will be explaining the new features added to TetraCity, upcoming features, and the installation process. I have made much progress in the city design phase of the game. Now you can use the money and permits earned in the Tetris part of the game to purchase and place new buildings in your city. Currently, the player can enter the city design phase at any point in the game. This is a change from my previous design, which only allowed the player to go to the city design phase at the end of the year. As I mentioned in the last video, permits are earned by completing the red, blue, and yellow blocks in the Tetris game. One permit requires 100 blocks of a color to be cleared. However, the multiplier bonuses applied for completing 2, 3, and 4 lines concurrently makes the actual number of blocks needed much less. For instance, completing 4 lines at a time grants a 10 times bonus, so only 10 blocks of a color need to be cleared to earn 1 permit. On the Building Select screen, the player is only allowed to choose buildings at or below the player's current level. The player cannot purchase a building if they do not have enough money, have not met the population requirement, or do not have enough permits. Those values will be displayed in red if the player does not have adequate resources. In the Tetris game, I have added meters below the R, C, and I permit totals to show the player's progress toward earning the next permit in each category. I have removed the building house-shaped blocks from the Tetris game. Originally, I was going to have these blocks progress the construction of buildings. However, I thought the building construction would make the game too complex for casual players. The area statistic has also been removed since it provided no purpose. I have added an experience and level system to the game. The player's current experience and the amount of experience needed to progress to the next level are displayed at the top of the screen. Month and year values have been added. The month increases after a set period of time, which is about 15 seconds. The passage of months play a role in the experience system. Here are the details of the new experience system. Placing a level 1 residential building will add 1 experience after each month. Higher level residential buildings will grant more experience after each month. Industrial and commercial buildings do not provide experience themselves. However, residential buildings will gain an experience bonus for being placed next to a commercial or industrial building. Higher level commercial and industrial buildings will grant a higher experience bonus to residential buildings. The city design phase screen will show how much experience is granted for each residential building and the total amount of experience earned each month. Here are the next features I plan to develop in TetraCity. The population requirement to purchase a building is currently not enforced. I want to make each building require a specific number of population to build. The population required for all the players' buildings must not exceed the player's earned population value from the Tetris game. I want to replace the 3D rectangles with objects that look more like real buildings. I have some experience with Blender, so hopefully I can export some 3D models created with Blender so they can be used by my Ruby and OpenGL code. Along the same lines, I would like to have some texture maps for the buildings, the ground, and maybe even the blocks in the Tetris game. I also need to make a title screen for the game which will include the GPL license information. Some of the code needs to be modified to work with higher level buildings. I was thinking about letting the player buy other things with money aside from buildings, maybe bonuses that can help with the Tetris game. I still want to add the city disaster phase, which will occur when the player loses at the Tetris game, such as when the blocks reach the top of the screen. Then the player would be given a chance to recover by completing blocks in the Tetris game. When I have some extra time, I will try to work on creating some sort of distributable package or auto installer. I want to add sound effects and background music to the game as well. I will probably use Creative Commons works and give credit to the authors of the music and sound effects in the game. Here is a quick walkthrough to run TetraCity on your system. First, you will need the code, which can be acquired from SourceForge. Go to the TetraCity project page on SourceForge, click Develop, select Code, then SVN Browse, and then download GNU Tarball. This file can be extracted in a Unix-like environment using tar-xvzf or use a decompression program like 7-zip. Once you have the files decompressed, you will need to download and install Ruby, which can be obtained from ruby-lang.org. There should be a big button that says Download Ruby. I recommend downloading one of the latest Ruby installers. After Ruby is installed, you will need to download and install Ruby SDL. I recommend using the Ruby SDL-2.1.1.1-mswin32.zip file, which can be downloaded from rubyforge.org. Details on how to get and install this file can be found on the TetraCity wiki under Ruby and SDL. Use the samples included with the Ruby SDL install package to verify that both SDL and OpenGL are working correctly with Ruby. For Ubuntu Linux, you can get the Ruby, Ruby SDL, and Ruby OpenGL libraries using Synaptic, but some changes need to be made to the Ruby script since Synaptic did not include the latest version of Ruby SDL the last time I checked. Finally, you will need to include the Hyperion font and Arial font in the TetraCity game directory. A link to the Hyperion font is provided on the TetraCity wiki on the references page, and the Arial font can be copied from the C:\Windows\fonts directory. If everything is installed correctly, then TetraCity should run on your system. Simply run it by double-clicking tetracity.rb. It can also be run from the command line by entering ruby tetracity.rb, which will also give you the command line output messages. If you want to stay updated on the development progress of TetraCity, check out the wiki at www.tetracity.net. The latest source code can always be found on SourceForge. There is also a TetraCity fan page on Facebook, and I will try to continue to post updates on YouTube with the latest updates on TetraCity.